Hello, everyone, and welcome. You are watching Eagle News America. I am Michael Hudson, coming to you from Everett, Washington. Tonight, we have updates from several of our correspondents from across North and South America. Tonight, we have May Davila in Ciudad de Panama, who will be reporting about Panama and Microsoft's collaboration effort to promote technological development and education in remote communities. We also have Thomas Likeness joining us from Edmonton, Alberta.
Let's talk about the cynical spreaders, the infection fighters, and the inconsistent.
We also have Vanessa Dela Cruz in Victoria in British Columbia, who will be reporting about the Canada-US border closure extending to late September. Carlo Valdez also joins us from Union Township, who will be reporting about a priest in New Jersey having been arrested for sexual assault. And also we have Julie Ann Cibulon in Lancaster, California.
California issues a flex alert for energy conservation throughout the state.
John Akuma joins us in Los Angeles, California.
Dodger Stadium to be a vote center for the November 2020 election.
And for EBC Sports, Zarita Sese in Toronto reports about the Raptors looking to defend their titles as the NBA playoffs start. Plus, another story about neighbors helping neighbors. Chris Gonzalez in Alexandria, Virginia, shares with us this feel-good report about the Church of Christ in the U.S. Capitol holding a week-long outreach event. But first, an overview of how COVID-19 looks now. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University of Medicine, as of 6 p.m. Eastern Time Monday, August 17th, 2020, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 21,900,000. This includes more than 5,400,000 in the U.S. and more than 124,000 in Canada. Sadly, this virus has taken over 776,000 lives worldwide. This number includes more than 170,000 in the U.S. and more than 9,000 in Canada. Our coverage begins now. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern announced on Friday New Zealand extended a lockdown of its largest city, Auckland, by at least 12 days as authorities struggled with a growing new coronavirus outbreak.
In keeping with our precautionary approach and New Zealand's philosophy of going hard and going early, today Cabinet has agreed to maintain our current settings for an additional 12 days, bringing us to a full 2 weeks in total. In keeping with...
Ardern said the cabinet has agreed to maintain the current settings for an additional 12 days, bringing it to a full 2 weeks in total. Since 4 people tested positive on Tuesday, the first cases in community transmission in 102 days, New Zealand has detected a cluster of 30 virus cases. Most of those cases have been found around Auckland, a city of 1.5 million people who have been asked to stay home. Worryingly, 2 of the infections were found in the town of Takora, around 130 miles south of Auckland. Authorities are still struggling to find out how the virus came to return to New Zealand, which had earned global praise for its handling of the crisis. Ardern said that genetic testing had shown no link between this outbreak and cases in quarantine arrivals from overseas or from the first wave of cases. But she did voice optimism that the latest outbreak had been quickly detected and could be brought to heel. She said there are signs they have found this outbreak relatively early in its life, and extensive testing and contact tracing had determined the earliest case becoming sick around July 31st. Meanwhile, the U.S. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy has agreed to testify before the House Oversight Committee about changes to the U.S. Postal Service. Ahead of the November 3rd elections, in which millions of voters are expected to cast ballots by mail due to the coronavirus, President Donald Trump has levied an unprecedented attack on the USPS, opposing efforts to give the cash-strapped agency more money as part of a big new virus-related stimulus package, even as changes there have caused delays in mail delivery. With some states expanding mail-in options because of the pandemic, an estimated 3/4 of Americans will be able to vote from home this fall. Increased mail-in voting, President Trump said Saturday, would be a, quote, catastrophe an assertion contested by many election experts. Speaker Nancy Pelosi on Sunday said she would recall the House of Representatives from its summer recess to vote this week on an act, quote, to save the Postal Service. The government of Panama and Microsoft collaborate to promote technological development in education in remote communities. In Ciudad de Panama, Eagle News correspondent May Davila has the details.
The Republic of Panama and Microsoft Corporation signed a Memorandum of Agreement which aims to allow incorporating knowledge of programming, robotics, and computer science to the curriculum of Panamanian students from preschool to general basic education. The agreement was signed by the Administrator of the Autoridad de Innovación Gubernamental, Luis Oliva, and by the General Manager of Microsoft for Central America, Daniel Versweibel, who participated virtually in the event. Also present during the event was the President of the Republic, Laurentino Cortizo Cohen, who served as an honorary witness. Without a doubt, the signing of this Memorandum of Agreement is the beginning of a strategic alliance with Microsoft Corporation that will be beneficial for economic and social development, for increased productivity, rational use of resources, and the promotion of innovation. Furthermore, it represents an important boost for the recovery tasks that lie ahead, the President highlighted. The President added that with this agreement, access to the Office 365 platform is achieved for more than 40,000 teachers from all educational regions, including 4,751 teachers from the Nabe-Bugla region, 242 from the Embera region, and 753 from Gunayala, and more than 400,000 students from the public education sector to speed up the transformation of the educational system. He indicated that the signing of the memorandum allows the expansion of connectivity to fast and low-cost broadband, which will benefit many rural communities while improving the quality of life of its inhabitants. The President assured that this agreement also allows improving the capacity of teachers in the management of creative tools and permanently integrates the use of technologies in an educational environment, which will enrich educational practices in the country. For his part, the General Manager of Microsoft for Central America, Daniel Versweibel, indicated that the signing of the memorandum comes at a decisive moment in the challenging situation facing the world, when technology has been the ally of citizens, companies, organizations, and governments. He also stressed that it seeks to close connectivity gaps through technologies that take advantage of the blank spaces in the electromagnetic spectrum to connect remote rural communities and contribute to include 1.6 million Panamanian citizens who still do not have this service. Desde Ciudad de Panama, May Davila, Eagle News. Vivimos en tiempos interesantes.
Thanks so much, May. Really appreciate it. When we come back, updates from our Eagle News correspondents in Edmonton, Alberta, Victoria, British Columbia, and Union Township, New Jersey. This is Eagle News America. Stay with us.
Ein sonniger Tag heute hier in Berlin vor dem Bundestag. Ich bin Irene Juliet Arzadon und möchte diese Gelegenheit nutzen, um ein paar Worte mit euch zu teilen. An alle Menschen da draußen. In dieser Zeit, lasst uns nicht vergessen, den Menschen zu danken, die ihr Leben für uns opfern. Sei es die Menschen, die im Krankenhaus arbeiten, in den Altenheimen sowie in den Arztpraxen, aber auch an die Menschen, die im Lebensmittelhandel sich befinden. Die Kassierer. Manchmal reicht es aus, um ihnen ein freundliches Lächeln zu geben. Denn die Menschen, die heute am Arbeiten sind, weil sie nicht so wie einige von uns zu Hause bleiben können, die sollten wir wertschätzen. Ihnen sollten wir unseren Dank ausrichten. Darum lasst uns noch mehr zusammenhalten, sie wertschätzen.
The search for the best continues. Tagi Sanagaling Part 2 is now accepting audition entries. If you are 21 to 59 years old and have what it takes to be the next Tagi Sanagaling Grand winner as a solo performer, do it. trio, band, or grouped act, submit your audition entries now. Just follow these guidelines. To submit audition entries for the singing category, contact Nikki at 0977-651-9504. This is your chance to be Tagisan ng Galing's grand winner and win 2 million pesos. For more details and updates, visit and like the Tagisan ng Galing Facebook page. What are you waiting for? Join now!
You are watching Eagle News America. I'm Michael Hudson in Everett. A nonprofit polling company categorizes people according to their pandemic behavior: the cynical and spreaders, the infection fighters, and the inconsistent. In Alberta, Bureau Chief Thomas Likeness reports.
Good evening, Michael. Hope all is going well in Washington State. Let me explain that headline, the three categories. A polling company, the nonprofit Angus Reid Institute in Canada, came up with that. The Institute categorized people according to how they're behaving during the pandemic. Now, the most worrisome group, and this accounts for 1 in 5 people that the Institute surveyed, the most worrisome group, they're called the cynical spreaders. Now, these people have expanded their social circles to include people they don't know well. As well, they don't physically distance. They're ambivalent towards things like hand washing, mask wearing. They say, you know, I can bend the rules. I won't get infected. I can share food at my event because I'm careful. They say the guidelines, the restrictions, they're just too strict. Typically, these people are under 35. They're not college educated. And politically, they're to the right of center. Some of their other attitudes, they're very supportive of frontline workers, but they're critical of public health experts, political leaders. They tend to be more angry than the other two segments. Now, the next group, I like these guys. They're the infection fighters, and nearly half, 47% of those surveyed fall into this category. They wear masks regularly when in contact with non-family members indoors. These are the people who regularly comply with public health recommendations. They'd like to see things tightened up, though, to bring others into line. Now, the third group we have is the inconsistent, the people who sometimes follow the guidelines. That represents a little over a third, 36%. They're half in, half out. And how do they feel about the restrictions? Well, they're kind of like Goldilocks, you know. The level of restriction is just right. Well, the good news is that the vast majority of all Canadians, regardless of what group they fit in, are seeing mostly friends and family members. But as we noted, 1 in 5, they're the cynical spreaders. They're extending their social circles to people they don't know very well. The survey was done earlier this month. What category do you fit into? In the meantime, I wish you all good health. Take care of others. Take care of yourselves. Stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic and other current affairs. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Michael.
Hey, I really appreciate the report, Thomas. Quick question for you before you sign off.
Sure.
So, I mean, what's the reason? I mean, what's your opinion as to why people are so rebellious to follow the protocols going on right now?
Well, part of it, and if we look at the demographics now being affected by the pandemic, the new infection rates are highest amongst younger people, at least in Canada. And let's face it, think back to when you were 25. What was that, about 2 years ago, Mike? For me, I don't even want to, I don't know whether I have enough fingers on one hand to count the number of decades back, but we were all invincible. Nothing could hurt us. There's that, and let's face it, we were probably a little bit, I know I was a bit rebellious when I was 25. You don't like to be told what to do, you know. This isn't going to kill me. I'm careful. I'm going to live forever. So that's part of it, I think. It's
Okay.
just a general attitude that young people have. Now I'm beginning to sound like my father.
Yeah, you're starting to sound like my father too. But I'm hoping everybody has a change of heart soon so we can get through this as soon as possible. Thank you again, Thomas. Stay safe out there. We'll talk to you soon.
Always a pleasure to be on with you, Michael.
Closure of the Canada and U.S. border has been extended to late September. In Victoria, Vanessa de la Cruz reports.
The border between Canada and the US is the largest international border across two countries in the world. It has been closed for non-essential traffic since March 21st. Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness, Bill Blair, announced the extension of the border restriction for another 30 days to September 21st. Minister Blair has mentioned that it will do whatever's necessary to keep our community safe. Dr. Theresa Tam, the Chief Public Health Officer, mentioned that she wanted to keep up Canada's good work with regards to COVID-19. However, there has been some cases where families have been split, where they could not see loved ones between the borders. The border closures get revisited every 30 days. Some people are predicting that the border closures might not reopen till next year. I'm Vanessa de la Cruz in Victoria, BC. Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. A priest in Jersey City, New Jersey was arrested for 2 counts of sexual assault. In Union Township, Bureau Chief Carlo Valdez has the details.
Thanks, Michael. Donato Cabardo, 56, a Catholic priest from St. Paul of the Cross Church in Jersey City, was arrested for sexual assault. According to Hudson County Prosecutor Esther Suarez, Cabardo was arrested for 2 counts of criminal sexual contact and 1 count of sexual harassment. The priest surrendered at the prosecutor's office last Friday after his victim accused him of touching her sexually on 2 different occasions, once in January and another time in July at the church's rectory. He was reported by the victim to the Archdiocese of Newark, which informed the New Jersey Clergy Abuse Task Force and the Hudson County Prosecutor's Special Victims Unit. As of this time, he is awaiting an appearance in Superior Court. And as for COVID-19 stats and numbers, New Jersey has received 316 new positive COVID-19 test results, pushing the statewide total to 187,767. 316 cases reported from last week have been removed because they were from out-of-state reports. Sadly, 4 new confirmed COVID-19 deaths were reported for a total of 14,077 lives lost. In Union Township, New Jersey, Carlo Valdez, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Mike.
You know, it's unfortunate that we continue to hear stories such as this. Thank you so much, Carlo, for that moving story. Up next, updates from our correspondents in Lancaster and Los Angeles in California and in Toronto, Ontario. This is Eagle News America. Stay with us.
Hello there, I'm Alfred, and I'm a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, batch of 2008 in New Era University. I'm currently working as an operations analyst in Autodesk.
Hi, I'm Earl Escanio, and I graduated with Bachelor of Science major in Computer Science in 2010. I am a consultant at Trinity Consulting, LLC.
Hi, I'm Ivy Nakatagal, Bachelor's in Computer Science graduate, year 2010. I'm currently working as a cybersecurity analyst in one of the largest telco here in New Zealand, Coast Park, NZ.
I'm Frank David Riego, a BS Computer Science graduate here in 2015. As a legal analyst, I am tasked to read U.S. cases, specifically civil torts cases.
I am Melanie Rico Hermosi, a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science graduate, year 2006.
I'm currently a software quality assurance engineer at FEI Systems here in Maryland, United States.
Hi, I'm Renzo Cruz. I'm a graduate of BS Computer Science, year 2012. I'm currently working abroad, and I'm working as a senior cybersecurity consultant who specializes in digital forensics and incident response. And I am part of a national security in one of the countries here in the Middle East.
I am inviting everyone to study at New Era University. To legit, to grit.
Be brilliant in the new era.
Study now at New Era University.
Excellence,
Discipline,
Service to humanity.
Hello, welcome back, everybody. This is Eagle News America. I'm Michael Hudson in Everett. California issues a flex alert for energy conservation throughout the state. In Lancaster, Julianne Simbulan has the story.
Thank you, Mike. California issues a flex alert for energy conservation throughout the state, including Los Angeles County. Record heat temperatures blazed throughout the state and county, bringing about record-breaking high temperatures in many areas. This heat wave is creating a great strain on energy sources and the overall electrical system, with many air conditioners being used to cool down homes and those living there, as well as the increasing daily energy consumption due to the new norm of life, with many residents working remotely and children starting school through distance learning, all being done from the comforts of their own homes. The California Independent System Operator, or ISO, issued this statewide flex alert for conservation of electricity. These alerts will be in effect from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. each day until this Wednesday, August 19th. This higher demand on the power grid is largely due to the increased usage of power because of the high temperatures. The state of California is looking to potentially issue a Stage 3 emergency to conduct rotating power outages. These controlled outages can occur at any time of the day, but will most likely occur between the hours of 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. lasting in hour increments, but will be dependent on the current circumstances. Some of the ways customers can help conserve energy is by setting their thermostat to 78 degrees when at home, cooking with a grill outside to keep the home cooler, give the air conditioner rest time by opening windows or using fans, closing blinds to keep out the heat, shut off lights when leaving the room, and unplug electronics when not in use. California Governor Gavin Newsom also tweeted, quote, "We can do our part to conserve energy and help prevent service interruptions during California's heat wave," unquote. He further advised all Californians to set their air conditioner temperatures to 78 degrees or higher, avoid using major appliances, and turning off any unnecessary lights during the flex alert time frame between 3 p.m. to 8 to 10 p.m. In Los Angeles County, the number of new cases increased today with 1,185 newly reported cases and 19 new deaths from yesterday. The total number of confirmed cases in the county are 223,131, with 5,273 deaths as announced today by the Los Angeles Public Health Department. Meanwhile, the state of California now has a total of 621,562 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 11,224 deaths, as reported by the California Department of Public Health. In Lancaster, California, Julianne Simbulan, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Mike.
I appreciate it, Julie. So I have a few questions for you. So I need to know, because it's starting to get really hot up here in Seattle. Like, it was 100 degrees yesterday. Today it was like low 90s, mid 90s. And I'm really just trying to lock down a regimen and trying to just pick people's brains who are in hot weather all the time on how to beat the heat. So what is your go-to way of beating the heat?
For me, my go-to way of beating the heat is kind of turning on the fan and just like popping it up just so it's just so it's in front of me. That's pretty much how I like to spend my days in the heat. because over here it gets very hot. Actually, yesterday it was 114. So since it is the desert, it is generally hotter than most of Southern California.
Wow. Okay, I get that. Actually, I tried the fan a couple of times. I actually put it like in the window. I've tried taking cold showers and stuff like that. So I guess I'm gonna have to keep trying different methods. So pertaining to your story, so is this this new mandate by the state? Is it mandatory, or what are the consequences if people break those rules?
Actually, Mike, the Flex Alert is voluntary, and consumers here in California and Los Angeles County are being asked to conserve energy out of one's free will. It is not mandatory for residents to comply, but state and county officials are appealing to the consumer's conscience and concern over our current situation. There is an extreme heat wave throughout California, heavily affecting many areas of Los Angeles County, that is causing a great demand and strain on energy and the entire electric system. But if many residents decide not to comply with the Flex Alert to conserve energy during the times given, the consequences can be severe, from rolling blackouts to complete power outages, causing an energy crisis. This can translate to millions of people losing power in their homes and going dark for many hours. So it is best that everyone complies to this Flex Alert.
Makes perfect sense. And last question for you. How long is this heat wave in your area, you believe?
This heat wave has actually been going on for about 2 weeks now, and I don't think it is going to stop soon. So we can so I'm just hoping for the best, pretty much.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I booked our tickets to Alaska, so we can leave in a couple of days and spend some time there. Just kidding. Well, hey, thank you, Julie. Hope you enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Be safe out there.
You too.
The Dodger Stadium will be a vote center for the November 2020 election. And Los Angeles Eagle News correspondent John Akuma reports.
Thank you, Mike. Los Angeles County Dodger Stadium will be a vote center for the presidential election on November 3rd. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti recently tweeted, "Exciting news for LA. Dodger Stadium will serve as a vote center this November, at which voters can cast their ballots in person while maintaining a safe physical distancing." The Dodgers, together with the Los Angeles County Registered Recorder, County Clerk, and California Secretary of State, recently made an announcement that Dodger Stadium will be a center where within registered voters throughout Los Angeles County can cast their ballot in person. This is a historic moment for the Los Angeles Dodgers, for they will be the first Major League Baseball to make their stadium accessible for public voting. Being the third oldest ballpark in the United States with 56,000 seating capacity and 16,000 parking spaces, Dodger Stadium is a perfect vote center to accommodate the Los Angeles residents, and there will be more than enough space for them to maintain the required 6 feet of social distancing. Dodgers president and CEO Stan Kasten stated, "Dodger Stadium is part of the fabric of Los Angeles. We are proud to continue to partner with the county to make the property available to benefit of the community at large." Dodger Stadium, being a designated and official vote center, was made possible through the collaboration of the efforts of the Los Angeles Dodgers and a More Than a Vote, which is a nonprofit group of African-American athletes and artists with the common goal to protect the voting rights of the community of color so the voices can also be heard. LeBron James, being the founder of More Than a Vote, declared, "I am really proud we are able to help the Dodgers become the first MLB stadium open for voting. This is exactly what we created, More Than a Vote. A lot of us now are working together and here for every team who want to follow the Dodgers' lead and turn their stadium for a safer place for voting." David Price, a Dodger pitcher and a More Than a Vote member, said, "We may not be able to play in front of our friends this year, but we can do our part to provide a core civic function and make sure that Angelino can safely vote this fall. While Dodger Stadium has also been affected by the pandemic and forced to close to the general public for several months until recently reopened last month to continue to conduct civic and community efforts. This includes COVID-19 testing, where Dodger Stadium became a large and effective site to test in more than 6,000 Angelinos per day. The stadium was also used as a massive food distribution site for the county and also a venue for the Los Angeles Unified School District virtual graduation. Now, Dodger Stadium will be an official vote center for in-person voting in the upcoming presidential election. In Los Angeles, California, John Akuma, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thanks, John. A couple questions for you. So what's the biggest difference between a voting center and a polling place?
That's a good question, Mike. I recently found out myself the difference between these two. More counties are actually moving away from polling centers, but instead switching to voting centers. Voting centers are usually less numbers than polling places in the county, but the big difference is that voting centers allow registered voters to vote up to 10 days before the election than anyone in the county, regardless of their residential address. Who are registered to vote can come and vote in person or drop in the mail-in ballots. Vote centers make it convenient for the registered voter to make the vote heard near their home, work, or school. This easy voting and will increase the voter turnout, for it will be easier for residents to go to any voting center. And since there are fewer voting centers than polling places, less staff is needed for these centers, which reduces costs and ultimately financially save the county for expenses.
Gotcha. So as far as the mechanics, do you know anything about how it's going to be ran, or are they going to have to like drive through and drop off their ballot? Do they park and walk inside the stadium and drop off their ballot? How's that going to work?
Right now, they're still going through the logistics and how to make it properly safe for us fellow Angelinos. So they're really trying to make it really proper and safe. Since it's a big parking spot and a big center for this, they can have several centers, so they can have different sites where people could vote. So you don't have, for people who live in the Los Angeles County, we can have like people who work all the way, and like our sister was earlier, like the lady who was earlier who lived in Lancaster, who works in Los Angeles, can actually vote here versus voting at a polling place near her house.
Makes perfect sense. And then you also mentioned that LeBron was kind of, his group was kind of the mastermind about securing this venue. Are there any other venues that they're working on securing around the, either LA or the United States?
They're to try to look for other places, but like I said, with Dodger Stadium having their own parking lot and having a huge parking lot like that, it was easier for them to secure a huge area. So a lot of people like that. They are looking for other places, just like that with a huge parking lot. But with Los Angeles and parking can be a little hard to find. It'd be a little harder for them to find big pieces just like that.
Awesome. All right, John. Well, hey, thank you, man. Good seeing you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Mike.
And and now for EBC Sports. COVID-19 turned the NBA season upside down. The Professional Basketball League, however, did a better job compared to other professional sports leagues in resuming their season. It used what has been dubbed as the NBA bubble. The league just completed its regular season and is now on to the playoffs. EBC Toronto correspondent Zarita Sese has the report on the NBA and the defending champions Toronto Raptors.
Now that the restart of the NBA season has come and gone, 16 of the league's top teams look ahead to the long-awaited postseason. After a nail-biting play-in game between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Portland Trail Blazers, the seeding is now locked in. Ask any Raptor fan who was around in 2014, and they can probably recall the exact moment when former Raptor Terrence Ross was able to get a steal from Paul Pierce, and with 0.1 second left, Kyle Lowry threw up a shot only to be blocked by none other than Paul Pierce on the other end of the court. 6 years later, Canada's team is looking for revenge as they face the Brooklyn Nets for the first round rematch. The second seed Toronto Raptors will meet the 7th seed Brooklyn Nets in a best-of-7 game series in the Disney bubble. Despite the seeding of these two teams, the Raptors will have their hands full with this resilient Nets team, who went 5-3 in the bubble, beating heavy hitters like the Milwaukee Bucks and the LA Clippers, while almost eliminating the Trailblazers completely from the playoffs. If the Nets are to have any chance against the reigning champions, their star Caris LeVert, who averaged 25 points per game while in Florida and was named the Bubble's All-NBA second team, will need to keep up this momentum. When it comes to Toronto, they will need to keep doing what they've been doing in this Disney bubble, and that's to let their defense do the talking. During the restart, the Raptors were able to go 7-1 against strong teams like the Lakers, Bucks, and 76ers, while also maintaining the best defense in the league. On the other hand, the Raptors should not have any issues producing offense, as their backcourt of Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry have averaged a combined 25 points per game while in the bubble. Toronto has also shown their depth in the past couple games, where bench players like Matt Thomas, who scored 25 points against the Bucks, and Stanley Johnson, who scored 23 points against the Nuggets, have emerged as potential threats off the bench. Many have predicted the Raptors should have no problem handling this young Nets team, with some even calling for a sweep. But given how unpredictable the Disney bubble has been, anything can happen. From Toronto, Canada, Zarita Sese, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you so much, Zarita. As she said, NBA is in full swing. I'm extremely excited for the upcoming playoffs. So coming up, another story about neighbors helping neighbors in these very trying times. We will return in a moment. Stay with us.
Accurate and fair reporting. Not only from Batanes to Tawi-Tawi, but also abroad. Detailed and timely stories relevant to people all over the world. Catch all of these at Net25, your reliable source of news, entertainment, and technology updates.
The search for the best continues. Tagisan ng Galing Part 2 is now accepting audition entries. Kung ikaw ay 21 to 59 years old at may angking galing sa pagsayaw, mapasolo, duo o grupo man, magpadala na ng audition entry. Narito ang mga guidelines. Para makapagpasa ng entry sa dancing category, contact Shing at 0995-880-8004. Ito na ang pagkakataon mo para maging tagisan ng galing grand winner at manalo ng 2 million pesos. Para sa karagdagang impormasyon, i-like ang Tagisan ng Galing Facebook page. Kaya sali na!
Pagkakaalam ko po, kahit kailan, hindi po lumabog ang araw. Ang mundo po ang tumatalikod sa araw, kaya po dumidilim.
Napakaganda ng pelikula, napakagaling ng director.
I highly recommend po yung pelikula, panoorin niyo po.
Panoorin niyo po ito kasi for sure gagaan niyo po.
opening natin, successful siya. Hopefully, magtuloy-tuloy itong Make It Real. Taon-taon makapag-produce tayo ng mga bagong filmmakers na makakatulong natin sa mga susunod ng project ng EBC Films.
Let's make it real!
Sa lahat, nagpapasalamat po ako sa ating Panginoong Diyos.
Alam po namin merong uuwing panalo pero wala pong uuwing talo.
Welcome back, everybody. You are watching Eagle News America. I am Michael Hudson in Everett, Washington. Before we let you go tonight, we wish to share with you a feel-good story about neighbors helping neighbors. In the U.S. Capitol, it's not all about politics. The Church of Christ in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia for a whole week reached out to public schools, healthcare facilities, and neighborhoods, distributing protective masks, sanitizers, and care packages, among other items. In Alexandria, Eagle News correspondent Chris Gonzalez has the story.
Moved by the desire to help whenever they can, especially in these hard times, the Glacier Church of Christ once again reached out to the community to extend a helping hand. The Iglesia Ni Cristos, or Church of Christ's Ecclesiastical District of Washington, D.C., just concluded their week-long Aid to Humanity activities from August 12 to 16, 2020, and saw the distribution of 3,000 face masks and 680 care packages to different sites in Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. The 5-day community outreach benefited small food businesses and nursing homes in the region, among others. This marks the first anniversary of the Aid to Humanity U.S. tour that visited 8 regions in the country in August 2019. It came on the heels of the INC Giving activity held by the same ecclesiastical district in commemoration of the Church of Christ's 106th founding anniversary on July 27, 1914. District Minister Brother Matthew T. Capistrano led the outreach projects and explained,
"We know that we're going through a very difficult situation caused by this present pandemic,
that the mission of these activities is to open our hearts and minds and offer our resources to see where there is need." The district minister added that the purpose is to do good, respond in love and concrete action, and uphold Christ's teachings to love our fellow men.
to continue to do good to our fellow man, which is the teaching of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Reusable and washable face masks made by UNLAD, or Unified Livelihood and Development Initiative, a socio-civic and livelihood skills training arm of the Church of Christ, were donated to public schools, healthcare facilities, and neighborhoods in the region during the INC Giving event. Despite certain restrictions brought by the pandemic, the Iglesia Ni Cristo, or Church of Christ, is committed to fulfilling its socio-civic work in the community worldwide, a testament that to do good to those who need it is one's bounden duty, even in the most trying times. In Alexandria, Virginia, Chris Gonzalez, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Appreciate it, Chris. I think it's absolutely amazing that the Church of Christ continues to do outwork activities like this, especially during these times when everybody are just buying items and just keeping it to themselves, not sharing. But the church is really going out of its way to really purchase these products that people need and help those in need. So that was a very, very wonderful story. Thank you, Chris. So before we end our show tonight, we're going to enter our banter question of the night, and it's going to be pertaining to the story that we just saw. So let's ask our Eagle News team tonight, what personal protective essentials have you stocked up on since the pandemic began earlier this year? So I'll go first. For me, I want to say that I definitely stocked up on not toilet paper. I would say definitely gloves. Because, you know, we clean around the house a lot anyways. So we just need that extra layer of protection. So we have like boxes upon boxes of gloves everywhere. Who's next? How about you, John?
For me, like Michael said, I also stocked up on gloves and disposable masks. Even though I have my reusable masks inside that I use quite often, just in case I forget at home here in Los Angeles, you cannot enter a building without having a face mask. So having an extra disposable face mask in my car, or just in case a friend or loved one who does not have one, I have one also. So other than that, I try to stock up on toilet paper, but unfortunately, here in LA, we are also still having a shortage of that also.
Yeah, I think it's kind of it's not really humorous, but it's unfortunate. Like, say for example, you forgot your mask at home and you want to go to the store to pick up some eggs or something, and right before you walk in, you see that sign, you need a mask, and you're just like, oh man, do I cover my face? Do I put a shirt over my head or something like that? But that's good that you leave a mask in your car just so you can be prepared. I should probably do that. How about you, Thomas?
Well, yeah, let's go back to my story. I'm married to an infection fighter. She works in a daycare, so she's very, very conscious on the need for personal protective equipment. Right here in the studio, on my desk, we have some sanitizing wipes. In my pocket, I've got a little bottle of sanitizer. So we're well stocked on that. Masks, both reusable and disposable. We keep a package of disposable in each vehicle. Just like you say, John, we sometimes get somewhere somebody doesn't have a mask, or you need a mask to get into a store. So we make sure we're stocked up that way. But those were the essentials that we stocked up on.
So out of all those things that you mentioned, what do you think you have the most of right now?
Probably disposable masks. The government here distributed packages of them to everybody, and of course we ordered some online. Got not a great price, but not a bad price.
Yeah, I think everybody's starting to suffer from the inflated prices because everybody is just wanting.
I put my money into the wrong company. It should have been toilet paper and masks.
Absolutely. All right, Julie, how about you?
For my family and I, we actually stocked up on a couple of things because we just wanted to be as prepared as we could. So, of course, masks, gloves, toilet paper, and food.
Food? What type of food?
Canned foods, actually. Like, foods that last pretty well.
Okay, so like ravioli and like tuna and stuff? And beans? Oh, man. Can't stand beans, but
I don't like beans.
if I have to eat it, I'll eat it. So as far as the PPE, what would you say you have the most stocked up of right now?
Right now, the most stock.
Like, do you have like sanitizer is the most, or gloves, or?
I would say masks. We have a lot of masks. We keep them in our cars. We just keep them everywhere we can, just so we can just grab them and go.
Oh, gotcha. So, you know, with the story that we just saw, have you guys done, or have you seen any other events where people have gone out to help those in need, or have you guys yourself prepared packages to give to others in need? I mean, what have you guys seen in your respective areas?
Well, up here in Edmonton, I know they're planning one of the locals up here is planning an Aid to Humanity event along that lines. But there have been other organizations that have made donations of PPE to homeless shelters and so on.
And Julie, you were saying?
Over here in the Glacier Cristo Chapel in Lancaster, there was actually a neighborhood appreciation where we gave out hand sanitizers, masks to people in the neighborhood.
Oh, wow. Oh, great. How about you, John? Have you seen anything?
Yeah, in also the Glacier Cristo in Los Angeles, we actually handed out hand sanitizer, gloves, face masks, and also reusable face masks for the neighborhood around us. And also a lot of people in the Los Angeles community. We have a lot of food banks around, so we're trying to give out food and stuff like that. So stuff like that I see around the Los Angeles County and Angelino and everybody around here are actually stepping up their game to help provide the need for everybody.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. I'm sure everybody's so happy to receive that help, especially right now, because you have unemployment going up through the roof. You have people losing their jobs left and right, you know, and people are really suffering out there. And I think that the more people come together and just help each other, the quicker we'll be able to, you know, withstand this. So that's great that you guys have seen all that. So going back to some of the, you know, PPE stuff that we're dealing with here. So, you know, for example, when you guys go to a grocery store or to any store, do you guys sanitize anything? Do you guys kind of have a ritual you guys face when you guys enter stores?
Actually, yeah, I do have a ritual. I have one glove, and I keep one hand in my pocket. It's my clean hand. So everything I reach out with my left hand because I'm left-handed. And I pick it up, and with my clean hand, that's the one thing that I would touch. Like, I won't touch anything. I'll put everything using my left hand. So if I ever had to touch my face or anything like that, my right hand is clean. So the first thing I do, I wipe down the shopping cart. I wipe down everything, and right before I enter my car, I take out that one glove with my clean hand, reaping under so it doesn't get cross-contaminated, and I get into my car, pump a few hand sanitizer inside my car before I touch anything else.
Man, so you're the weird guy with the one glove in the store, huh?
I'm the weird guy with the one glove, not only because of that, but because I have asthma, so I really have to be really careful. So being a little extra precautious and looking weird, it's okay with me, as long as I'm healthy and my family is also healthy as well.
Amen. Amen to that. How about you, Julie?
For me, when I go to the store, I like to bring those baby wipes and then kind of just wipe the cart as much as I could, and then I just go on from there.
There we go. How many wipes do you use? Do you use the whole roll, or do you just use one, or?
Just one per cart, I suppose.
Okay. So, okay, that's good. That's good. You're saving it for everybody else. How about you, Thomas? What's your ritual?
Well, actually, where we shop, they sanitize the carts. Oh, first of all, I want to say to John, Angus Reid would call you a infection fighter, and LeftHanders Rule. But yeah, they actually sanitize the carts where I shop, and they have hand sanitizer right at the entryway. So I sanitize my hands and do the shopping. Coming back, it's a matter of, and they sanitize the self-checkout. I use the self-checkout. Coming back to the car, it's a matter of unload the groceries, sanitize my hands again, and take off.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, you know, speaking of, I think you know, some of the NFL teams are going back to practice now, and what's happening is that they built these frames that have little misters that shoot out like some type of solution that I guess kills the virus or just makes you immune to it or something like that. I don't know if it's real, but I saw some video footage of it. I thought that would definitely be my ritual if I went to the gym or something. Just like press the button, go through, get the workout in. I think that's a pretty cool device. But you know, with that being said, thank you so much, you guys. Really appreciate it. And let's continue to thank all the healthcare workers and first responders and essential workers with a round of applause. We appreciate you guys. And that's today's Eagle News America episode. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Michael Hudson. We live in interesting times.